Hey, everybody, welcome back. This is your girl, Savvy Sav, and welcome to another episode of What's for Dinner. On this channel, we focus on budget and quick meals, whether they be plant based or your regular everyday meals, emergency readiness, and juicing for our health. On today, we're going to create a new meal. Meatballs, your everyday normal meals, but we're going to make it a little bit plant based. Here are a few ingredients that we'll be using, and of course, every ingredient that I use will be listed in the description box below. But again, keep in mind, this is going to be plant based. This will be my first time making it, so let's get started. We're going to start by sauteing our veggies as we normally would do in an oiled skillet. Today I'll be using a little bit of grapeseed oil. Feel free to use whichever oil you love to use. But I have a little bit of green onion, red pepper, regular onions, and I have some mushrooms. And you want to get them almost softened. And then once they get almost softened, you want to go ahead on and include your seasonings right here to get those aromatics going. And I do have a few staples that I'll be using along with a few others. Garlic powder, onion powder, smoked paprika, cumin, curry powder, and the like. And again, these items will be listed in the description box for your liking. And as always, you can always leave questions or comments for Savvy Sav to answer, and I'll be glad to answer whichever ones that I can. But we want to continue to make sure that all of these veggies are healthy. And I'm going to add a little bit of broth. As you can see, I added a little bit of broth just to keep it nice and wet, because we're going to add this to a mixture in just a few minutes. So we want our wet mixture and we want our dry mixture because we're going to create our meatballs. These are just the veggies that are going to go inside of the meatball, and this is just my way of doing it. Feel free to do it without sauteing them first, but this is the way that I would like to start the wetness out. So our dry ingredients right here is going to include our meatball crumbles, as well as I'm going in with some flour, and I have some breadcrumbs here, Panko breadcrumbs, as well as I have some Italian breadcrumbs. So as you can see, this is our dry ingredients, and I'm just going to go ahead on with my hands and mix these into the meat. We want to get everything is kind of acclimated to the meat already. And the meat that I use for my dishes, I will list that as well down in the description box in case this is your first time here. And if this is not your first time here, then you know what meat that I've learned to use and I have loved so very much. So now we're going to go in with our wet ingredient. Instead of a regular egg, I'm going to use just egg. And I have a little bit left in this box, and we're going to use whatever we have here. But if you have a little bit more, go ahead and add it, because again, this is going to be our binding agent. And also, we're going to go in with our wet ingredient of our sauteed veggies here. This is why I added the broth, to bring about a little bit more moisture. So now with my spoon, I'm just going to go ahead on and I'm going to mix everything together, because now you want to mix everything together so that when you get ready to form that ball, everything has came together, and you want it to be a sticky, like a little paste texture, if you will, so that when you're picking up the meat and you squeeze it, it can actually begin to, form and settle. And that's why I said if you have a little bit more of the egg mixture, feel free to use that. Or if you're making it, not plant-based, then of course you would just use your eggs. Okay? And again, you want to go ahead on and do this till you get everything mixed up, and then you can begin to assemble your ball, and it'll look something like this. I tried to use an ice cream scoop at first, but I went ahead and just used my hands. And after I did everything, I went ahead and did these off camera so that you guys can get a glimpse of how they will look once they form. Now, if you have the time, go ahead and freeze them a little bit in the ice box, maybe 15 to 20 minutes. But I was going to actually do another meal and decided to do this at the last minute. So here we go. They're not the perfect balls, but they're going to be good enough. You're going to bake this at 375 for 30 minutes. You don't want your moisture that you do have in that to just dry out. So meanwhile, while they are baking, I have 2 sweet potatoes here. I decided to go ahead on and I'm going to cut these sweet potatoes up And I'm not going to put them in the oven. I'm going to actually boil them on the stove. So I'm going to cut them up here, and I'm going to get these guys into a pot and bring them to a boil until they softened. So I'm just going to cut them up in a couple of pieces here. I have 2, and I could have diced them probably a little bit smaller, but I was just going for that nice size to fit on the plate. Excuse me. And I like round size, nice round size sweet potatoes. It put me in the mind of our candied yams. You know what I'm saying? So I left them, this size here. And again, I'm going to go ahead on and I'm going to boil them on the stove. And I'm going to bring them to a nice roaring boil or until they are softened. Okay, got them all done. Let's go ahead and put these babies into a pot of water. Yes. And you want enough water in here, guys, to cover the sweet potatoes. And now I'm going to go in with a little salt. And then next, of course, I would treat this like a candied yam. Except I'm not putting it in the oven today. I'm actually going to just leave them on the stove top. So here I'm going to put in some of my plant-based butter. And you put in however much butter you would like. So I'm going to put some butter in. I'm going to put some cinnamon in. I'm going to go in with a little nutmeg, a little brown sugar. Very small amounts, but I just want that sweet taste to put me in a mindset of that candied yam. And feel free to add more of the sugar, I just wanted a little bit of taste. So now you got the meatballs in. You just want to coat all of the meatballs. And coat all of the meatballs. Make sure they all get a little love with the sauce. I don't like watery sauce. I don't like thick sauce. I like for it to be able to sit on top of my rice or my noodles. And that looks really, really good, guys. It looks really good. The peppers are in there, the onions are in there, the carrot is in there. I couldn't ask for a better curry. I think I'm gonna put some fresh coconut on top. I always have to get a fresh ingredient. That bell signifies that the broccoli is done. And I put some chopped broccoli as a side dish at the last minute. I didn't do anything major to it. Some onions and some seasoning, and I just dropped it into the microwave. Yeah. And we're gonna just let this simmer, guys, for about maybe 15 to 20 minutes, just so that everything can become one inside of the pot. Doesn't this look beautiful? Look at the colors. OMG. Yeah, loving it. Okay, and that's it. And as always, I thank you guys so much for watching. I pray and I hope that this video has encouraged you to try this dish. I hope that you guys will come back. And if there's a specific meal you would like for Savvy Sav to cook for you, please leave it in the comment section below. As always, like, comment, and subscribe. And until the next video, guys, bye.